If you're feeling weighed down by life's challenges, if your heart is heavy, or if you've been shedding tears that no one else can see, this message is for you. I want you to hear this loud and clear. God has seen every tear you've cried, and I promise you, joy is coming. No matter how dark the night feels right now, the dawn is on its way. I know life can be tough, and sometimes it feels like your breakthrough is so far away. But don't give up. You are chosen, you are loved, and the breakthrough you've been waiting for is closer than you think. So, if you're ready to embrace the hope and peace that's coming your way, hit that subscribe button, join this community of believers, and let's walk through this journey together. And hey, if this message resonates with you, drop a comment below. Let me know how you're feeling, and let's encourage each other. Your joy is right around the corner, and I can't wait to share this powerful journey with you. When life feels heavy and overwhelming, when the weight of the world seems to press down on your shoulders, it's easy to feel like your pain is unnoticed, as if the tears you shed are just a fleeting moment of suffering. But here's a truth that can bring comfort. Not a single tear you've cried has gone unnoticed. In moments of heartache, loss, or frustration, you might find yourself wondering if anyone truly understands your pain. The people around you may not always see your struggles, or they might not know the depth of what you're going through. But there is someone who knows it all, every sorrow, every moment of sadness, every tear. The Bible gives us a powerful reminder of this in Psalm 56 verse 8. It says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." This scripture paints a beautiful picture of a God who is deeply aware of your pain. The idea of God collecting your tears in a bottle is more than just a poetic image. It's a powerful message that every moment of sorrow matters to Him. Every tear you've shed is counted, valued, and cherished by the One who created you. Think about that for a moment. Every tear you've cried, whether in private when no one was around or in the silence of your own thoughts, has been seen and recorded. God is not distant or detached from your pain. He's present in it, sharing in your sorrow and holding your heart in His care. He sees the rawness of your emotion, and He's not indifferent to your suffering. He understands it fully. Sometimes we may feel that our tears are wasted, that they're a sign of weakness or something to be ashamed of. But the truth is, your tears are not wasted. They are seen, they are valued, and they are part of your journey toward healing. God does not let your pain go unnoticed or unnoticed, and He certainly doesn't allow it to be wasted. Every tear is a step toward something more beautiful, something that is being prepared for you. There are moments when life is hard, and the sadness feels like it will never end. But take comfort in knowing that even in those moments, God is at work. The tears you shed today may be the seeds of joy that will bloom tomorrow. The pain you experience now could be the very thing that strengthens you and shapes you into the person you're meant to become. God does not promise that there will be no pain, but He does promise that He will be with you in your pain, that He will walk beside you through every trial and hardship. And He promises that your sorrow will not be the end of the story. In fact, He is preparing something beautiful for you through the trials and the tears. Your suffering is not in vain. It's part of a greater purpose, a bigger picture that you may not be able to see right now, but one that will unfold in time. Remember, your tears are not wasted. Every drop is counted, every moment of sorrow is acknowledged, and in time, God will transform your pain into something beautiful. So, when you find yourself in a moment of grief or loss, don't despair. Know that God sees you, He cares for you, and He is working all things for your good. Take heart in the promise that your tears are not just a sign of weakness, but a symbol of the strength and resilience that lies within you. They are a testimony to the love and grace of a God who is near to the brokenhearted. And they are a reminder that even in your darkest moments, there is hope on the horizon. There are times in life when it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on us, when we find ourselves in the middle of a season of pain that seems endless. The struggle drags on and we can't see a way out. Whether it's a personal loss, a deep heartbreak, or a series of difficult circumstances, it can feel like things will never change. But here's something powerful to hold on to. Seasons don't last forever. Just as winter never stays forever and spring always follows, so too will your sorrow eventually give way to joy. You might feel like you're stuck in a never-ending winter, surrounded by cold and darkness. But there is a new season ahead, one of warmth, light, and hope. Psalm 30 verse 5 speaks directly to this. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. It's a simple yet profound truth. No matter how long the night of sorrow feels, morning will come. This promise is not just for some people, it's for you. The weeping you're enduring right now may feel like it's taking forever, but it's not the end of the story. The morning will break through, and with it will come joy. It's important to remember that the season of pain you're experiencing right now is temporary. It's just one chapter in your story, not the whole book. When you're going through hardship, it's easy to get caught up in the moment and feel like things will never change. But the truth is, this season won't last forever. It may feel overwhelming and it may feel like it's been going on far too long, but there is an end in sight. Think about the seasons in nature. Winter doesn't last forever. Even in the coldest, darkest months, we know that spring is just around the corner. The snow melts, the flowers bloom, and the world comes alive again. In the same way, your sorrow will eventually give way to joy. It may not be immediately obvious, and the journey may be long, but it's coming. There's beauty in the waiting, even though it's difficult. The waiting period may be where you grow the most. It's where you develop strength, resilience, and deeper faith. Just like a seed buried in the earth, unseen but growing, your spirit is being shaped and prepared for the new season ahead. What you're going through right now is not in vain. You are being refined, and the joy that is to come will be that much sweeter because of it. During the tough seasons, it's easy to feel stuck, like things will never get better. But remember, pain is not your permanent address. Your morning is coming. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is closer than you think. You may not know exactly when it will come, but trust that it will. Your sorrow has an expiration date, and joy will arrive when the time is right. This doesn't mean that the pain isn't real or that your feelings aren't valid. It simply means that the pain isn't the end of the story. There's more to your journey, and the difficult season you're in now will give way to something beautiful in time. And in the meantime, there's grace in the struggle, and there's hope for what's ahead. So, if you're in a season of pain, don't give up. Hold on to the truth that this season is temporary. The dark night of the soul will eventually give way to the light of day. Your tears, your heartache, and your struggles are not forever. Joy is coming, your morning is on its way, and with it, the peace, hope, and happiness that will make all the waiting worthwhile. When we find ourselves going through the toughest seasons of life, it can often feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, and it's hard to see beyond the pain. In those moments, it's easy to think that our struggles are meaningless, or that they're the end of the road. But what if I told you that sometimes the hardest seasons of our lives are actually the ones that are preparing us for something greater? It might not make sense right now, and it might feel like everything is falling apart. But there's a powerful truth in this. God is preparing you for something greater than you can even imagine. Your current struggle, the pain you're going through, is not without purpose. It may not be clear how or why things are happening, but trust that God is working behind the scenes to shape you and set you up for blessings that will far surpass the trials you've faced. One of the best examples of this truth comes from the story of Joseph. Joseph's life was filled with heartache, betrayal, and hardship. He was betrayed by his own brothers, who were so jealous of him that they sold him into slavery. After that, he was wrongfully accused and thrown into prison. And to make matters worse, after he helped someone in prison, that person forgot about him, leaving Joseph to rot in his cell. If anyone had a reason to feel abandoned or hopeless, it was Joseph. But despite all of this, Joseph never lost faith. He trusted that God had a plan for his life, even when it seemed like everything was falling apart. And in God's perfect timing, Joseph was lifted up from the pit of despair and placed in a position of great authority, second only to Pharaoh in Egypt. The very trials that seemed to break him were the ones that equipped him for the purpose God had set for him. Joseph's pain was not wasted. It was used to prepare him for something greater. God worked in Joseph's life in ways that Joseph couldn't understand in the moment. The same is true for you. Just because you can't see the bigger picture right now doesn't mean that God isn't at work. He is using every challenge, every setback, and every moment of pain to build your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. Sometimes we want to rush through the difficult seasons of life because they are painful. We want the storm to end so we can experience the calm. But God knows that the storm is necessary for your growth. Just like a seed needs the right conditions to grow, sometimes buried deep in the soil, sometimes enduring storms to strengthen its roots, you are being prepared in ways you can't fully see yet. The hardship you face today could be the very thing that equips you for the calling on your life tomorrow. When you're going through a difficult time, it's important to remember that God's timing is perfect. The struggle you're in right now is not permanent, and it's not pointless. God is working behind the scenes, aligning things in your life for a future that is greater than anything you could ever imagine. Your pain today is preparing you for the success, joy, and fulfillment that will come in God's perfect time. Joseph's story shows us that no matter how dark or painful the journey may be, God has a purpose for it. He doesn't waste our suffering. Instead, He uses it to shape us and to prepare us for what lies ahead. When you feel like you're being tested beyond your limits, remember that God is not punishing you. He's preparing you for something greater than you could ever have hoped for. And just like Joseph, you too will see how your struggles were leading you to something extraordinary. The same God who turned Joseph's pain into purpose is the same God who is working in your life. He sees you, He knows your struggles, and He's using this season to make you stronger, wiser, and ready for the blessings that are coming your way. Trust that your pain has a purpose, and that God is preparing you for something beyond your wildest dreams. So, don't give up. Your story isn't over yet, and the best is yet to come. There are times when life can feel overwhelming, when the struggle feels too much to bear, and the future seems uncertain. In these moments, it's easy to feel like you're all alone, or that the hardships you're facing are never going to end. But here's the truth. Even when you can't see it, God is working behind the scenes. He is orchestrating things in your favor, moving things around, and preparing you for what's next. It's easy to lose hope when the road ahead is unclear, but this is the time to hold on to your faith. Faith isn't just about believing when things are going well. It's about trusting God even when you can't see the full picture, even when the storm is raging around you. The temptation in tough times is to let go of that faith, to doubt that anything will ever get better. But I want to remind you today, you are closer to your breakthrough than you think. Don't let go now. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. In the midst of your struggles, when you feel worn out and ready to give up, God is still at work. He is moving things in your life, aligning people, situations, and opportunities that you can't see yet. You may feel like you're stuck, like you're not making progress, but the truth is, you are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. Isaiah 41:10 is a powerful reminder of God's constant presence and support. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. These words are not just comforting, they are a promise. God is with you right now, even in the hardest moments. He has not forgotten about you. He is walking with you through this storm, holding you up when you feel like you can't stand on your own. In those moments when you're struggling to hold on to your faith, remember that God has promised to strengthen you. He doesn't leave you to fight the battle on your own. He is by your side, providing the strength and help you need to keep going. When you feel weak, He will uphold you with His righteous right hand. You don't have to rely on your own strength alone. God's strength is more than enough to carry you through. Hold on to your faith, even when you don't see the results yet. Even when the situation looks bleak, when it feels like nothing is changing, remember that God is working behind the scenes. He sees your heart, He knows your pain, and He has a plan for you. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is coming, and it may be closer than you think. The storm you're walking through right now is not forever. You are being prepared for something beautiful, and soon you will step into a new season, one filled with joy, peace, and blessings. Don't give up just because the road is rough. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep holding on to your faith. God has not forgotten you, and He never will. You are not walking this path alone. So when the storm feels like it's never going to end, remember that God is right there beside you. He is your strength, your help, and your constant companion. Keep pressing forward, knowing that He is guiding you to a place of peace and blessing. Your breakthrough is coming, and it's going to be worth the wait. Hold on to your faith. You are closer than you think. There are moments in life when it feels like time is working against us, when things aren't happening as quickly as we want, when the dreams we've worked so hard for seem just out of reach. It's easy to become discouraged. We look at the timeline of our lives, and when things don't line up the way we expected, it can feel frustrating and confusing. But here's the truth that can bring peace to your heart. God's timing is always perfect. It's easy to want things to happen on our terms, according to our schedule. We see opportunities slipping by, or we feel like we're not making the progress we should be making, and we start to wonder why things aren't moving faster. But God sees the bigger picture. While we may not always understand why things happen when they do, we can trust that God's timing is designed to bring about the best possible outcome for our lives. He knows what's best for us, even when we don't. In Ecclesiastes 3:11 it says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." What a comforting thought. God is at work in every season of our lives, even in the waiting. He doesn't rush things. He doesn't make mistakes. Everything has a purpose, and everything will unfold in its perfect time. While we may be impatient, God is orchestrating everything with precision and care. He knows exactly when the right moment will be to bring your breakthrough, your healing, your opportunity, or your joy. In those moments when it feels like nothing is happening, remember that God is never idle. He is always working behind the scenes. The delay you're experiencing is not a denial. It's simply God's perfect timing at work, preparing you for what's next. Just because things aren't moving on your timeline doesn't mean God isn't actively involved in your life. In fact, He is working in ways you can't yet see to make sure that when the breakthrough comes, it's exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. Think about the story of Joseph again. He spent years in prison, separated from his family, betrayed and forgotten. Yet, through it all, God was working behind the scenes. He was shaping Joseph's character, preparing him for a future position of leadership and influence that Joseph could never have imagined while he was in the pit. If Joseph had been released from prison any earlier, he wouldn't have been ready for the role that God had prepared for him. God's timing was perfect, even in the midst of Joseph's pain. Similarly, your life is unfolding according to God's perfect plan. There may be seasons where it feels like nothing is happening or like things are moving too slowly. But trust that God knows exactly when the right moment will come. When He brings your breakthrough, it will be exactly the right time. Not too early, not too late. You don't need to worry about the timing of things. You don't need to force doors open or rush the process. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, preparing the way for you. Your joy, your peace and your blessing will come at the perfect time, and it will be better than anything you could have imagined. So, in those moments when you feel like things aren't happening fast enough, remember that God's timing is perfect. He is working on your behalf, and He knows exactly when the right moment will come for your breakthrough. Rest in the assurance that just as everything has a season, your season will come, and it will be more beautiful than you can imagine. Trust that God is leading you, step by step, toward the amazing future He has planned for you. Your joy is coming, and it's coming at the perfect time. Life isn't always easy, and sometimes the most challenging part is not the pain itself, but the endurance it takes to keep going. When everything feels heavy, when you're facing trial after trial, the road ahead can seem long and uncertain. It's in these moments of hardship that perseverance becomes so important. It's not just about pushing through the pain, but about the strength you build in the process. Every time you choose to get up and keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets, you're building the resilience that will carry you through not just this season, but every season ahead. Perseverance is a powerful force. It's easy to give up when the going gets tough. It's tempting to throw in the towel when you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is changing. But the truth is, it's often in the moments of perseverance, when you feel like you can't go on any longer, that you grow the most. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every time you choose to keep going, even when it's hard, you're developing the inner strength that will serve you in ways you can't fully understand yet. The Bible speaks to the power of perseverance in James 1:12, saying, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him." This verse is a reminder that perseverance isn't just about enduring. It's about standing strong in the face of difficulty and trusting that there is a reward at the end of the journey. It's the person who chooses to keep going, even when they feel like giving up, who will ultimately receive the crown of life, the promise of joy, peace, and fulfillment from God. Your perseverance will not go unnoticed. It may feel like no one sees the effort you're putting in, or the pain you're enduring in silence, but God sees it all. He knows the battles you're fighting, the tears you've cried, and the strength it takes for you to keep moving forward. Every choice to stand firm in the face of adversity is a step closer to the joy He has promised you. Think about it. Resilience is not built in the easy times. It's forged in the furnace of struggle. The difficulties you face now are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. When you push through the pain, when you keep going even when you don't feel like it, you are shaping your future self. You are becoming the person you need to be for the next chapter of your life. Your perseverance is a vital part of your story. It's the foundation of everything that is to come. It's what equips you to handle the blessings and responsibilities that God will entrust to you in the future. When you choose to press on, You are developing the kind of strength that will allow you to walk through whatever life brings your way with grace, confidence, and faith. And in the end, your perseverance will lead you to the joy that God has prepared for you. The trials you face now are not forever. The struggle, the waiting, the endurance, all of it will eventually give way to something beautiful. The crown of life is waiting for you on the other side, and it's going to be worth every step, every moment of perseverance. So keep going, even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Your perseverance is not in vain. It is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the blessings that are ahead. And remember, God is with you every step of the way, cheering you on, supporting you, and reminding you that your perseverance will lead you to the joy and fulfillment He has in store for you. You're not just surviving, you're growing, and that growth will bring you closer to the life you were meant to live. Joy is something that we all long for, but sometimes we can confuse it with mere happiness. Happiness can be fleeting, tied to circumstances or external things that come and go. But joy, true joy, is something deeper. It's not just about feeling good in the moment, it's about fulfilling the purpose God has set for you. The joy God has for you is far beyond simple moments of pleasure. It's deeply tied to living out the calling He has placed on your life. God isn't just interested in your happiness. He wants you to live a life of purpose. He has a plan for you, a purpose that is bigger than anything you could have imagined. Your joy is a direct result of walking in that purpose. When you align yourself with God's plan for your life, you find a joy that is lasting and meaningful, a joy that transcends circumstances and becomes a wellspring that flows from deep within. In Jeremiah 29:11, God speaks directly to this truth. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." This verse is a reminder that God's plans for you are good. He has designed your life with purpose, and that purpose is tied to your joy. The future He has planned for you is full of hope, and it's in walking out that purpose that you'll find a joy that sustains you through every season of life. Your joy is not just for you, it's part of a bigger picture. It's tied to serving others, loving those around you, and living out the calling God has placed on your heart. There's something powerful about the way that serving others and fulfilling your God-given purpose brings about true joy. When you step into the role that God has called you to, when you help others, share kindness, and walk in your divine calling, you will experience a joy that fills you up in ways nothing else can. This joy doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes it comes through challenges, through serving others when it's not easy, or through the sacrifices we make for a greater good. But even in the midst of those challenges, the joy that comes from fulfilling your purpose will carry you through. It will give you the strength to keep going, the resilience to face difficult seasons, and the peace that comes from knowing you're walking in alignment with God's will for your life. When you embrace the purpose that God has for you, you begin to understand that your life is not just about your happiness or comfort. It's about fulfilling the calling that God has placed on your heart. As you serve others, as you walk in faith, and as you work to bring about the good that God has planned for you, you'll find that joy is the natural byproduct. It's a joy that comes from knowing you're part of something bigger than yourself. A joy that is rooted in purpose and in the love you share with others. So, if you're seeking joy, remember that it's not about chasing after fleeting moments of happiness. True joy comes from walking in God's purpose for your life. It comes from knowing that you're fulfilling the plans He has for you, plans to give you a future full of hope and peace. As you live out your purpose, you will find joy that is unshakable, joy that carries you through every high and low, and joy that touches the lives of those around you. Your joy is part of a bigger picture, one that is meant to serve others, help those in need, and bring light into the world. And in doing so, you'll experience the deep, lasting joy that only comes from walking in the purpose God has set before you. When life gets tough and you find yourself struggling, it can feel like you're all alone. The weight of the challenges you face might seem unbearable, and you might wonder if anyone truly understands what you're going through. It's easy to fall into the lie that you're isolated, that your pain is something you have to carry by yourself. But I want to remind you of a powerful truth today. You are not alone in your struggles. God is with you every step of the way, and He has promised to walk with you through every trial. In Isaiah 43 verse 2, we find a beautiful promise from God. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. This verse speaks directly to the tough times we face, the moments when we feel like we're drowning in the weight of our struggles. Whether it's emotional pain, financial hardship, relationship difficulties, or anything else that feels overwhelming, God assures us that He is right there with us, helping us through it all. When life feels like it's too much to bear, when it feels like the waves are crashing over you and threatening to pull you under, remember that God is with you. He doesn't leave you to face your challenges alone. In fact, He walks beside you, offering you His strength and support in ways that you may not even recognize in the moment. Even when you can't feel Him, He is there, holding you up and carrying you through the storm. God's promise to never leave or forsake you is not just words, it is a reality. No matter what you're going through, God is always by your side. He knows your pain, your fears, and your doubts. He sees the tears you've shed and the weight you carry, and He is here to help you through it. You don't have to walk this road alone. When you feel like you're at your lowest, when you feel like you have nowhere to turn to God. He is right there, ready to provide the comfort, strength, and hope that you need to keep going. The struggles you face don't define you, and they don't have to overwhelm you. With God by your side, you can face anything. His presence is the strength that will help you endure, and His love is the light that will guide you through the darkest moments. Take comfort in knowing that no matter how alone you may feel at times, you are never truly alone. God is with you, and He is faithful to carry you through your struggles. In your darkest moments, hold on to the truth that God is with you. When you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself of His promises and trust that He will not let you go. You may not have all the answers, and you may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but you can rest assured that you are not walking through this alone. God is with you, and He will help you carry the burden. Take a deep breath and know that you are loved, you are seen, and you are never, ever alone. It's easy to look at the pain we endure and wonder how anything good can come from it. In the midst of our suffering, it often feels like there's no purpose, no reason for the hardship we're facing. It can be difficult to see how something beautiful could possibly emerge from the pain, and we may question why we have to go through such trials at all. But here's an important truth to hold on to. God uses your pain for a greater purpose. In God's economy, He often takes the very things that hurt the most and uses them to shape us into stronger, more compassionate individuals. Think about a seed. Before it can grow into a tree or a beautiful flower, it has to die in the soil. It has to be buried, seemingly lost, before it can sprout up into something new. In much the same way, your struggles and pain are like the burial of that seed. It might seem like you're in a dark and difficult place, but God is using that season to prepare you for something greater. Romans 8:28 is a powerful reminder of this truth. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. No matter what you're going through, God is at work behind the scenes, using even the hardest moments for your good. He doesn't waste pain. While we might not always understand why things happen the way they do, we can trust that God is using every experience to mold us, refine us, and draw us closer to the purpose He has for our lives. Your pain is not in vain. It's not something that God will just let sit idly by. He's using it to shape your character, to develop resilience in you, and to teach you lessons that will serve you and others in the future. Through the pain, you are being prepared for what lies ahead. Your struggles are not the end of your story. They are part of the process that is preparing you for the next chapter. God knows what He's doing, and He is using every experience to bring about growth in your life. It's also important to remember that the joy you will experience on the other side of your pain will be even greater because of the depth you'll gain through this season. The challenges you face today are not just temporary setbacks. They are opportunities to become the person God has created you to be. When you walk through hard times, when you persevere and trust God in the midst of your suffering, you are being refined in ways that will deepen your faith, your strength, and your compassion for others. Your pain will not define you. It will shape you, yes, but it will not be the final word. The purpose that God has for your life is far greater than any hardship you're facing right now. Trust that God is using this season to prepare you for something beautiful, something good. Even in the midst of your struggles, know that you are not alone, and God is at work, turning your pain into something powerful and purposeful. So when you find yourself in the midst of hardship, remember that God is using your pain for a greater purpose. It may not be easy to see in the moment, but trust that He is using it to refine you, to build your character, and to prepare you for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. Your pain is not the end. It's part of the process that will bring about something good in your life. Keep trusting, keep persevering, and know that God is working all things together for your good.